Welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio. I'm your host, M.L.Ruscsak. I'm here with two wonderful special guests, Jay and Trisha from Discover.live. Welcome.
Thank you, ML.
Thank you for having
so
us.
happy to be here.
Now, not too long ago, I got to go onto one of your wonderful virtual tours of one of my ancestral places. And that was wonderful. So why don't you tell our listeners, our viewers, and everyone out there exactly what is Discover.live?
All right. Well, Jay, I'll jump in there if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
First of all, ML, it was so fun for all of us to learn that you had relatives that came out of Slovenia.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always a nice surprise to us. Many times our guests take tours and we don't know if they have any connections or they don't have any connections to the place that we're traveling to. So it made it all the more special that you did. But Discover Live is live virtual travel. We consider ourselves to be the pioneers of this space. We have been delivering virtual travel experiences to our guests since 2018. And the thing that really makes us quite unique is that we are all about personalization and customization. All of our tours are private, 100% private. So whether you're joining with colleagues, family, friends, it's your tour and your tour alone. And we really make sure that we take into consideration people's interests, be it art, architecture, culture, cuisine, anything that is really of interest. We make sure to customize the events around that.
Right. That was so fun to be able to see the awards that the city had won, and then get to see some of the food and some of the tools. And I'm a foodie, so learning where some of the food I eat during holidays come from, that is a wonderful thing. I didn't know the one bread that I have every year for Christmas, what the real name was. Grandma just said, "Oh, it's bread."
But now you know, and you can teach everyone else.
Now I know, and not only did I know, I took the recipe that we had that we've been using for years and put it into the magazine for this month.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
nice. Great. I mean, these are the hidden gems, right? That people just, they don't know what's going to happen during a travel experience. And we like to tell people that this is even better than being there in person, because you are face to face with a certified tour guide who has so much experience and so much knowledge. You're not fighting the pack of 30 other people as if you were there in person, and you really walk away fully connected to the subject matter. And in your case, you learned about this bread. I mean, there's so many things in our tours that we, as the team at Discover Live, have learned throughout the years that would love to share with the world. So you got a little taste of that, no pun intended.
Yeah, like all of. Sorry, go ahead. Emma.
No, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I just want to add on one thing, which is all our tours always have an element that is food. Just because we know, like, when people go out to travel, they always want to learn to experience certain type of food. So, when we design our tours or when we develop our tours, we incorporate what are some of those most interesting things that people are looking for, and we incorporate those into each one of our tours.
That is wonderful that you are able to do that. As a tour guide, as a tour company, you're able to bring the experience to us here at home.
Right.
That
is our goal. And as what Trisha said, we have so many feedback from our customers. Many times they're saying like, wow, I can't believe this is better than an in-person tour if I would go there all by myself. So that made us happy.
Yeah. That's really our mission. It's a lofty goal, but every day we are striving to actually make our version of travel the best option there is. A lot of people love the experience of in-person travel, and there's a lot to be said for that, but there's also the cost of that, the physical nature of in-person travel, jet lag, luggage, all the things that make it somewhat undesirable. There's none of that with Discover Live. but yet all the benefit of the learning like you experience and all the benefit of the wonderment of being in places you never thought you'd go to.
Exactly. Now, I heard from a little bird you have something going on for Valentine's Day. What is that?
We do. Jay, you want me to take that?
Trisha, I know you have been working hard on that, so go right ahead.
Oh, I love it. I love it because there's so many things around the world that we can tap into for special events like Valentine's Day. The world gives gifts, and Valentine's Day is for sweethearts. And so we have taken some of those most romantic locations like Paris and Rome and Venice and Florence. And we have special tours in those areas that highlight romantic views, romantic restaurants, romantic anything. And then in addition to that, you've probably heard about the Love Lock bridges, ML. And if not, I'll tell you a little bit about them. But
I have, but I can guarantee at least one of my listeners have not. So
okay.
please explain this.
Yes, I'd be happy to. I didn't really understand the meaning of them, and I've seen them a few times in my travels, but now that I know, it's all the more fun. So the Lovelock bridges are these bridges in some of these very noteworthy European towns, and actually all over the world, where couples will go, they'll have a padlock, and they will literally hook it onto the bridge, take the key, throw it away, and the whole idea is if you ever wanted to end your relationship, you would actually have to go in and find the key to unlock the padlock on the bridge. So seemingly, once you throw that key into the water, your love and your commitment to each other is kind of sealed. And it's a cute, cute tradition. And so we've got some tours where our tour guides will go to those areas and actually put a lock and throw the key into the water for the couple who is on the receiving side of that tour. So really romantic.
It is a romantic. I mean, it's one thing to do it yourself, but actually have your tour guide do it for you.
Absolutely.
One thing, I just want to add on a little bit on this one because what Tricia was saying, in a lot of sense, is really just a thought starters. And Tricia and I have been talking a lot in terms of how we can do this better, how we can take this even further. Now, assuming somebody wants to take half of the time to go to the Lovelock Bridge and lock the lock up, right? Mm-hmm. And assume another half of the hour, they just want to spend together, like spend some time together right next to the Adriatic Sea and watch the sunset together right next to this 2,000-year-old castle. So the creativity is what we need from our customers. Our job is to make sure that we do our best to make it happen.
Now, when you book a tour, is there like a questionnaire that you have your guests fill out so they know what they're wanting?
We usually, yeah, go ahead, Tricia.
It's a great question, ML. Just as a starting point, when someone comes in to book a tour from our website, we do ask them a few simple questions. But what makes us unique, again, is that personalization. So we actually reach out to the people once they have booked the tour, and we start the questions. What are your interests? What are the things you're trying to accomplish? Is this for a special occasion? How many people will be part of the tour? Is it friends? Is it family? Is it colleagues? Are you looking at all over the world, in one area in the country? And then from that, we start to customize the tour. And that's really what makes these events so meaningful, is they're personal. And so in the case of Valentine's Day, the expectation is someone would come in, book a tour, and invite their Valentine to go with them. And behind the scenes, we would be working through any of those details, even something as grand as a proposal, right? Can't you just picture it? Like you're at the Lovelock Bridge and someone is getting their lock put on the bridge and actually being proposed to in front of the screen that they're watching. So it can be really, really personal, and that's our goal.
I mean, I can see the little lock that says, "Will you marry me?" on it, and put it on the bridge. I mean, I can just visualize this. I'm a very visual person, so I can see this, and I'm tearing up right now because it's
I
so
know.
romantic.
I totally agree. I can just picture it. And, people are always looking for like the most amazing way to make a proposal. And wow, to be at a Lovelock Bridge and have it take place there. Because then in time, if they had the good fortune of actually visiting that bridge, they could see their lock there, which would
Exactly.
be really pretty
Yeah.
special.
And then after the Valentine's tour, we also have a really good design team actually design a memory card, digital card, and we will send that to them as well.
Aw.
For their keepsake.
That is a wonderful extra touch.
Yeah, we want them to like really just like anything, when people book the tours with us, we want them to memorize it, right? We want them to be able to come back to that several years later and say, okay, this is what we did on this day, this very special day in 2022, for example.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, if you go on a vacation, whether it be virtually or in person, you take pictures, you take keepsakes. So having a keepsake of your adventure be sent to you, now you have a keepsake forever.
That is the whole idea. Yes. And we've had people say to us that they come away from these experiences, and weeks and months and even years later, they're still talking about them. What happened during the tour, Uncle so-and-so got to see his favorite, cheese cannoli or whatever it may be. And it sticks with you like an in-person travel experience would. It's pretty remarkable.
Now,
So,
me being me, I see all the possibilities. You've mentioned like colleagues, but what about school tours?
School tours is an area that to us is so perfect for Discover.Live. There are so many areas where the school children don't get the opportunity to travel, and the educators are trying to get exposure to different experiences. And then there's areas too where it's a perfect correlation between international studies of language or social studies. You could just imagine someone taking Chinese in an American school and then traveling with their classroom to China for a day and actually talking in Mandarin with the local tour guide. There's so many ways that Discover.Live would be beneficial in a school setting.
If you go to the castles, I mean, you go to English history here in the US and you imagine the castles, you go to, different things to be able to see it while you're learning it.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes like learning, we do more than put more fun element on top of the learning as well, but in a different way, a little bit different way. So in one of the cases, we had a high school language class, French language class, and we literally started our tour at the outside of a train station, subway station. And this whole entire tour is to walk to like 5 blocks away to find a grocery store and find one famous French food, a can of food. So during this entire tour, nobody can speak a word of English. So they can only communicate with our tour guide in French. And they also allow 2 chances for our tour guides just to grab somebody on the streets and ask those people in French. So,
wow.
So the whole task is if this 16 students are able to find that food, the can of food, within 60 minutes, they won the class.
It's like a scavenger hunt.
I wish they could have done that with my Spanish class 20 years ago.
You and me both.
Yeah, we want to mimic the same situation as if they're traveling alone, right? Just get out of the subway station what are they gonna do, right? They have to ask people. They have to use their language learned in school, trying to communicate and find that place.
Right.
So that was really fun experience.
That would be a fun scavenger hunt. I'm sure you can also tailor that to bridal showers or anything else as well.
That's a great idea, ML. We haven't thought about that, but that would be a lot of fun. Yes.
Well, getting ready for a wedding, I think about wedding stuff right now.
Right. We've done things with bridal parties like wine tasting, because we also have tours where we do the tour followed by wine tasting. So picture like Tuscany or Paris or Madrid, Spain. We do the tour or the wine tasting first from that region, and then you get to experience it, live. So it's a combination 2-hour tour of wine tasting and the tour itself.
Oh, that
Really
would be
fun.
wonderful.
Yes.
So what else are you offering in 2022?
Oh boy, 2022 is going to be a big year for us. We have placed a lot of emphasis on engagement and interaction. For obvious reasons. We have been around long before the pandemic. We were not an answer to the pandemic, but we have certainly curtailed our thinking and our product offering because of what's happened around us. And people are really craving interaction. They're craving connection. And so we're adding a lot of tools into our tours to help facilitate that. Things like trivia and travel true and false stories and other ways to really kind of connect throughout the tour so that people leave feeling a sense of camaraderie. These work out really well when it comes to our B2B business, when we're working on team building with our corporate partners. But even in family scenarios, we've had people schedule family reunions with us, and they're seeing people that they haven't seen for 2 years, and they want to know about your new haircut or, your wedding plans. And so we kind of tie in some of those stories along with the tour to bring just a whole other level of engagement and fun.
Now, you said something interesting. If we're doing a family reunion, how many people or how many different locations can you log in from?
Well, the possibilities are pretty much endless. The platforms that we use allow for quite a few groups. Now, I will say that the more interaction that you want, the smaller the group, the better. But the platform itself would allow for many participants. And we kind of schedule our pricing accordingly. So it's really limitless, to answer your question. But if engagement with family members is paramount, we kind of have a sweet spot where we say no more than 20 people for that level of engagement.
Awesome.
Yeah, most of our tours for family reunion are actually have less than 20 people. And even if you're thinking of like the 3 generations together, all traveling together. So that's actually a good size, 20, especially for the interactions.
Right. I mean, you get my family together and 20 people is like a little nutshell of my family.
Yeah, so we have done like, so I'm from a platform standpoint, for each tour we can accommodate up to 1,000 people. So
Okay.
because we do the B2B side of the business as well. But just to Tricia's point, if the interaction is important, we usually suggest back to our customers and say, hey, we suggest you to limit the size, or we can divide the group into several different tours with different tour guides, but still at the same location.
That would work too.
Yeah, because we have, like, for example, especially now, can you think of how many instances 3 generations would be traveling together? Pretty rare, right?
Pretty rare. I mean,
Pretty
I have
rare.
4 in my family, so
Yeah, 4. Okay, so you have a big family, obviously, right? So,
right.
but we have like, the grandparents buying the tours for their kids and their grandkids.
Yeah.
Now the grandparents can, for example, like one tour we had in Poland, the grandparents can actually tell the grandkids, hey, this is the type of things that I used to do when I was little. And ask our tour guide, go there, and I want to show my grandkids up close. And that kind of thing is, if you have like too many people, it's just going to be a little bit harder to do.
It is. I mean, I can remember some family vacations going back to where my grandmother grew up here in the US. And it was just too many when we have just like 5 or 6 of us together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting though, ML, because, like anything else, some people would prefer to just sit back and take it all in, while others are more vocal. So it really does depend on your family too. We've had some families where we've had groups up to like 40 people, and it's been very manageable because not all 40 wanted to speak. So it's really dependent, but that's the kind of pre-work that we do with you in advance, just to make sure it's enjoyable for everyone.
Right. We want everyone to have a joyous vacation, even if it's 1 or 2 hours, and get to see everything, but enjoy it in their own way.
Absolutely. That is the goal. It's
I
really
mean,
about giving everyone a little taste of something,
exactly. Like I'm very vocal, where we had a couple of people in the group that I was with that didn't say anything.
Right.
So
Right.
They just take it in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the nice balance, actually, because then it leads to a really nice tour. So it seems to work. I can honestly say in all the years that we've been doing this, we have rarely had a situation where it was too much to handle the interaction. It's really pretty easily managed. We also have people from our team on every tour. So it's not as if it's just the group with the tour guide. We manage every single tour with at least one of our employees. So we're there helping to facilitate the communication, whether it's through chat or whether people are actually unmuting themselves and speaking. Because that's another thing. You can have a lot of people interacting through chat, and it doesn't stop the tour at all, because our tour guides are 100% focused on the tour, and our team member from Discover.live is actually taking all of those chat questions and kind of compiling them, and then asking the tour guide at certain appropriate times to answer and engage with the audience. So we can manage anything. I'm confident of that.
I'm very confident too, because I've been, to Slovenia, and was just a wonderful experience for Christmas.
That's such a beautiful place.
It is. And now I want to go visit personally.
Well,
I wouldn't have thought I want to go there before I seen it. And I wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't for your platform.
Well, that makes 2 of us. Jay, you will remember the first time we did a tour to Slovenia, I said afterward, that is my new favorite. And we started calling it the Hidden Gems because of that location. And it's still top on my list. It's a beautiful place.
Ever since then, we added another 50 on top of that list.
We did. We have tours of all of the top places in Slovenia now, because it's stunning. It's beautiful.
It is a very, very beautiful place.
Yes.
Now, speaking of, since you do have 50 different tours, do you have any promotions to go with those tours?
Yes, for the Valentine's Day, we're going to give out like a 15% of discount for the tours that they book through our system.
That is wonderful. Discounts are always wonderful.
Yes.
Valentine's, especially when you go on to, it's a date. If you're taking your sweetheart on a date, you want to be money minded, especially with the economy the way it is when we're bouncing back. But at the same time, this is a unique situation that you can actually go anywhere.
That is it. And we've had people, ML, who are literally theming the event. Like, depending on how creative your sweetheart is, we've had people who prepare a little food from that area. They have a little bottle of wine or, something that's more traditional of that area to drink. And they've got the whole stage kind of set so that it's this completely immersive experience. So, you can imagine some rose petals and beautiful wine and chocolates and a trip to Italy or France would be amazing. What a gift.
Yeah, sometimes
Venice
like
or anywhere. I mean, me
Yes.
personally, you take me inside of a castle during Valentine's Day, I'm going to melt.
I keep hearing this theme of castles, ML. You've got a thing for castles.
I do.
yeah.
Well, I'm a fantasy author, and all my books revolve around castles. So that's me.
That is awesome. All right, we're gonna have to think about a new tour for you.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes like at the end of the tour, we would stop at like a little souvenir shop and have the guests, our audience, to actually go there and actually pick their own souvenir, and then we buy it and then we send it over back to them.
Aw,
So a lot of things are possible.
that is wonderful. But we're almost out of time. So how can our listeners and our viewers find you, your website, and everything you do?
Just go to www.discover.live.
That
That's
is
it.
the simplest website ever because it's literally your company name.
That is it.
Discover.live. That is it. Exactly.
Now,
And we will love to see your visitors come to us, and we'll have that discount ready.
now, are you available on any social media sites?
Yes, we're on Facebook.
Okay.
Just call Discover Live. We're on Twitter. Obviously on LinkedIn as well.
Awesome. See, we have a lot of listeners that love their social media before they go to a website. I don't know why, but they do.
They'll find us. They will find us. Discover.live.
I mean, it's wonderful. And having been there, if you need to read up on it, you can go to the January issue of Trant magazine and you'll see everything that we did from Sylvania in the magazine.
Awesome, ML.
That is awesome. Yes.
So
We were so happy to have you as our guest then. I'm glad you loved it. It was magical.
It was very magical. And I mean, it's not often I find places that I go, oh, I have heritage here.
That was great.
It was wonderful.
Good. Our tour guide is still talking about that. In fact, we spoke to her today and she was saying it was just so wonderful that she had a connection. And those are the kind of things that you uncover. It's really remarkable. It's a great learning experience.
It very much is. And I love being able to share not only history, but locations and geography and things, not just with my listeners, but with my family. Go, oh, look, you can go here and you don't have to travel on a plane because you don't like planes. Isn't that wonderful?
It is wonderful. Yes, it is. So keep sharing. We welcome it.
Always. And thank you, Jay and Trisha. I can't speak. I'm going to butcher your name still today. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having us.
We appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And for our listeners and our viewers, happy traveling.